Last week, in my video, I talked about the things that have made sports worse in recent years. I kept it to on-field proceedings and no mention of gambling or uneducated social media commentary, which are the real banes to the existence of sports in the present. So in this video, I wanted to be positive about the direction we're going in. So I came up with a big 5 athletes in different sports that could really take things to the next level. I think it is fair to say that sports can't get much bigger than they already are. But let's say for these athletes in particular, they're either going to bring us back to when a sport was at its peak or bring us something new that is totally different to what's ever preceded them. If you're at all skeptical that one singular athlete can bring a sport to another tier of entertainment, I think examples like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, even now Shohei Ohtani prove that wrong. It may sound crazy, but I think guys on this list can provide that kind of bump to their respective sports. Caleb Williams. Kind of an easy one to start off with. I've been a persistent Caleb supporter since he came into the league. The elevator pitch for Caleb taking football to the next level is Patrick Mahomes in the NFC. And not just in the NFC, but in Chicago. This is a massive sports market that has been let down by its football team over and over and over again. They haven't had a good quarterback in the Super Bowl era, and now they pretty clearly have one. I've been surprised to see how many people cling to the completion percentage, stats like that, in order to push an anti-Caleb agenda. Imagine clutching your pearls because a guy missed a drag route. Couldn't be me. Brother, I do not care if he misses a gimme once in a while. I really don't. As long as he still has this Mahomes/Allen-like ability to just put teams on his back late in games, I'm going to support the guy. Some guys make mistakes that bury their team. I don't think Caleb can ever bury his team, because when the chips are down, he's throwing ropes through that Chicago wind. Caleb's been billed as the next big thing since he came out of high school in DC, and while I think we all love an underdog story, Caleb was the number 1 overall pick, and it would be kind of cool to see the apprentice become the master in respect to him and Mahomes being very similar in terms of their games. For so long now, the AFC has been the quarterback conference. I think Caleb could become the face of the conference, the guy providing an existential threat to 15 other teams every year, the guy the rest of the conference builds their roster up to beat. That potential, combined with playing in Chicago with this wildly entertaining playing style, makes me think Caleb is uniquely positioned to bring something new to the league. In baseball, I have Elly De La Cruz. We need Elly in a playoff series so badly. I know Ohtani is already breaking everybody's brains, and I have no intention of getting in the way of that. However, Elly is a kind of throwback player, a reminder of what baseball was in its heyday, and something we get a good look at when the playoffs come around every October. When he's on, Elly hustles like no other. He already stole 67 bases back in 2024, but this is obvious he can combine it with some otherworldly power when he gets a hold of a baseball. He's already a 2-time All-Star. He's had some ups and downs at the plate. I just think the upside is so high here. If you get him in front of a national audience in October, he's going to rise right to the top. The Reds aren't a particularly great franchise, but they are a sleeping baseball giant, as the Big Red Machine was one of the greatest runs by any franchise in the second half of the 20th century. They also had a pretty good offseason, and there's real optimism around the team. It's another kind of sleeping giant in terms of a fan base that will get going if given a jolt. In basketball, I've got both Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama. I'll start with Ant-Man, the slightly lesser of the two in my opinion, and I'm giving the NBA to 2 guys because they're clearly in need of a major kind of facelift. The necessary change is centered around effort. Across the board, it feels like nonchalance is at an all-time high in the NBA, but these guys genuinely seem to care. It's no secret that Ant has taken great pride in knocking out the OGs of the league in recent years, Kevin Durant, LeBron, etc. Yes, we all know that his play style is like a modern Michael Jordan. I don't know if there's a more fun watch on a nightly basis, and I don't think there's a guy who takes his matchups more seriously than Ant, especially when another star is in town. Also, Minnesota is just a generally starved fan base, with the Vikings, Twins, and Wolves. Give them something, please. However, the easy answer, and maybe the only answer in this case, is Victor Wembanyama. Forget the fact that he's the tallest player in the league, can move like a guard and shoot the lights out. Put all that generational talent to the side. But for me, Wemby is really just different up here. More than any other player in the league. He tried during the All-Star game, inspiring others to try. He is well-read and well-spoken on real societal issues. He went to a monastery in the offseason and hung out with some monks. He seems mindful. He's bringing the Skull chant to San Antonio Spurs, which is like bringing a European atmosphere to a basketball game. He seems to want to take basketball to the next level. He's the chosen one. The NBA's product has undoubtedly taken a hit in recent years, and it's really being highlighted in the past few weeks as focus has shifted from the NFL to the NBA. Wemby's fighting against that. He's immediately turned San Antonio into a contender, along with the amazing young guards on his team in Castle and Harper. He's the most devastating defensive presence in the league, unstoppable on offense. Again, we need this guy in a playoff series immediately, and we're going to get plenty of it. Injuries are pretty clearly the only thing stopping him from becoming an all-time great. But again, what sets him apart is how in this league, where sometimes it seems like the commissioner doesn't care so much about the on-court product and fans getting their money's worth, Wemby does care. The face of the league actually caring about the product could be the ticket to the NBA consumer not constantly being disrespected. Okay, now for a soccer one, I have Hugo Ekitike. Maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't. The easy answer here would be Lamine Yamal. No one has ever been this good this young. I think he's going to be the best player in the world in short order. However, his game does not show us something we haven't seen before. What's really mind-blowing about him is the fact that he's so young and doing what he's doing, and it's probably not even close to his ceiling. But in an effort to find something unique, I'm going to go with Ekitike. Brian Cherky was also considered because his game is delightful. Ekitike was an afterthought among the hundreds of millions of pounds Liverpool spent in the last summer transfer window in 2025. Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Alexander Isak being the one at the very end, and somehow he has distinguished himself among the stars just on his own team and now in the entire Premier League. And I don't think he's scored a bad goal this season. His game is just so unique. He's 6'3" but can dribble like a 5'10" winger. He has such a quick trigger when he decides to shoot, and links play together really well. I'm not sure what his future is going to look like at Liverpool or even at the World Cup as part of a loaded France roster, but I think he can usher in a new generation of strikers with really fun, complete games. And maybe that will be the solution to the monotony in soccer these days. So that's the end of my list. Let me know in the comments if I missed anybody, but I think these guys are just what the kids would call ethical hoopers, in that they play the game kind of the right way, a unique way, and their success would be great for fans, for leagues in general. Again, let me know who you think should reshape the future of our sports. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe to Backman Sports while you're at it. We'll have a new podcast up this week, and I'll see you next time.